let's get into the dailies we have for today. I'll start with the daily graphic. And on the front page, we have laws on false reporting essential. Professor Datiba. We have here scale up operations with creative minds. A minister advises graphic. Latest casualty, firefighting hits a snag. Galamsey devastates water resources. Transfer unclaimed dividends to Registrar of Companies by September 2023. And that's it for the front page of the Daily Graphic.
And the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Review sections of District Assembly Elections Act to address low voter turnout. And that's by the NCCE. Government targets 1 million jobs through entrepreneurial initiatives. World largest electric vehicle project. Jospon and Zero Knox Seal deal. Signed joint venture agreement to produce in Ghana.
Okay. And I have the Finder. That's the next one. It says here on the front page of the Finder, Akufo-Addo, Canadian Prime Minister, hold bilateral talks. Okay, and it's you see our president there pictured with Justin Trudeau. First batch of UStart entrepreneurs begin training in 188 districts. We have MPA cautious motorists not to buy fuel from tabletops. Yep, and don't use concrete to build motorway. Asphalt will save 15 to 20% of cost. This is coming from the Chamber of Construction. And Agric holds the key to jobs for youth. This is coming from Dr. Akoto, the former Minister of Agric.
And on the Chronicle, some of the headlines here, Professor Jampon warns NPP can break up if, okay, so you would need to read the story on page 3, 7, and 8. And tabletop petrol is adulterated. Stop patronizing it. And that's by the NPA. 5 regions sensitized on Abidjan to Lagos Corridor Highway. And the
Scripture?
Yeah, we actually have the Bible verse of the day. Proverbs 13:10. Pride only breeds quarrels, but wisdom is found in those who takes advice.
Yeah. Well, we have the, you know, the MPA story about the tabletop
The
fuel?
petrols, yeah.
Yeah. Why are they not arresting people? Do you understand?
Yeah.
The advice is one thing, but we should have
There should be an action.
mass arresting of people, because you say that if people are selling adulterated fuel, that's a crime.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the person is selling, the person has a fuel on the tabletop, nobody is buying
Yeah.
it. You know, you can advise people not to buy, but what you should actually be doing, unless MPA doesn't have the power to
arrest
to
them.
arrest. But then the issue here is that you can cause their arrest by reporting them to the police.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand, you know, this whole thing of always advising
Always
people.
advising without,
instead of
you know,
punishing.
Yeah.
You know. And the New Crusading Guide has these headlines. Tension brews over moves to install sub-traditional office holders in Tetegu. We have Kennedy Japan to adduce fresh evidence in case against Kweku Bakon. Pensioners must not be worse off by government's DDEP, Razak Opoku. Alan is the people's choice, Professor Kobe Mensah. Economy will bounce with a Greek. I guess it means it will bounce back with a Greek. Dr. Afiyo Koto. And Doma East MP extols Energy Minister and ECG boss.
And on the Daily Guide, stay trial, Ofosu Ampofo to appeal court. Parliament Parliament set to grill new CJ. That's interesting, to grill her. And Bahumia goes home for blessings. NDC man arrested over journalist attack. And lastly, pastor burns woman to death. That is worrying.
Yeah.
Like this week or this month
It's just
has been so gory.
Yeah.
It's just been women dying,
Yeah.
women being killed,
Yeah.
and all that.
Can we read that story? I'm curious about that.
About the pastor?
Particular one. Let me. You want to read that?
Yeah. Okay, you can.
Yeah. Let me quickly read that. Page 6.
Page 6 of it.
Yeah. It's this page 6 of the story. It's just weird and bizarre how these things are happening over and over again. And so it says here, Pastor Burns, and Burns is in quote, woman to death. A popular pastor at Achim Asawase in the eastern region, Isaac Ochiam, has been arrested in connection with the death of a 42-year-old woman, Ama Nkansa Pia. Now, Ama Nkansa Pia is said to have died as a result of burns from a spiritual oil applied to her body by the suspect, popularly known as Pastor Wusu. During a deliverance service at his church, Pastor Wusu allegedly administered what was intended to be anointing oil on the woman's body. A Daily Guide has gathered. Now, the incident happened on April 25th, 2023, at Achim Asawase, a suburb of Achim Awisa in the Brim South District. Now, according to Ajwa Gloria, the deceased's younger sister, Amma, went to the preacher for spiritual advice and came home with burns. Was hospitalized at the Oda Government Hospital, but was later transferred to Kolubu Teaching Hospital in Accra, where she succumbed to her injuries and died on May 2nd. When the family confronted Pastor Wusu, he denied any wrongdoing, but it was later discovered that the pastor's left hand and feet had also been burned. Further investigation revealed that Pastor Wusu used both spiritual oil and fire during his exorcism, which wounded the victim. In response to the family of the deceased's demand for justice, the Achimoda police have detained Pastor Wusu to enable them to conduct further inquiries. The tragedy has sparked debate about the necessity for regulation against irresponsible spiritual practices. Meanwhile, another family member of the deceased, Priscilla Asma, refuted rumors that her sister had been attacked by a jealous competitor in Achimoda and said the rumors were untrue. Yeah, so I mean,
I'm sure she took her to the church.
Yeah, well, I
You
mean,
never know, because
no. The thing is, the supposed pastor, is clearly has questions to answer, you know, and the police, I'm sure, will get to the bottom of this. You know, I hope they do get to the bottom of it and quickly.
It's actually very worrying.
Yeah,
It's
because it's just one too many, incidents of people just losing their lives. Yeah, let's just do a couple of quick stories online, and then we'll go to sports. We have Dufour calls for, this is citynewsroom.com, by the way. Dufour calls for postponement of NDC primaries. He's asking because he says that the delegates register, what they call the album, it's not, credible, and it needs to be cleaned up before the primaries. But anyway, we'll see what they do about it. UG's 2% discount on fees inadequate. This is coming from Nugs.
Yeah.
Now 2%. I don't know what the 2%. It's almost like a tease. It's like you just came to joke.
Well, but UG said it was a kind gesture and not an obligation.
2%? Okay. 2% is like the transportation to the school.
I know.
Do you understand? Really? Anyway. TUC to stage demo today over sacked Sunon Asogli workers. And yes, that's the one you said. 2% discount on fees is a kind gesture, not an obligation. And finally, will not rest until government pays us. This is coming from the pensioner bond holders. Yeah. All right. Well, it's time for sports. Don't go anywhere. All right, so sports is up next, and the Bet Power Ghana Premier League. We have stories there, and we have some stories from the UEFA Champions League semi-finals. Now, Mediama SC closed the gap on leaders Adriana FC to 2 points after securing a 2-1 win over Bechem United at Akun Park on Monday. Now, the Mauves and Yellows went into the game looking for a win to continue their title hunt and ended up with a fine display to beat their opponents thanks to goals from Jonathan Soa and Vincent Atinga. Now, Bechem got their consolation through Francis Aqua to leave them on third on the league table on 48 points. Now, in the other match played on Monday, Aduana Stars drew goalless with Karela in Doma, and that's it for the Bet Power Ghana Premier League. Now, for some UEFA Champions news, the first legs of the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League will be played this week in Madrid and Milan, as Real Madrid, Manchester City, AC Milan, and Inter Milan will compete for the prize of a place in the final of the competition. In Spain, defending champions Real Madrid will host Man City at the Bernabeu on Tuesday. Now, the match is a repeat of last season's semi-finals that was won by Real Madrid over 2 legs. Now, the two teams got ready for the tie with their respective wins over the weekend, where Man City beat Leeds while Real Madrid beat Osasuna to win the Copa del Rey. And that's what we have for sports this morning.